Yes. So, welcome everyone. I will be reviewing today a book that needs no introduction, and in fact, it needs no review. So, everybody knows the story of Ramayana and Sundarakandam. So, let me take you to a date. Yes, some of you might be thinking I have written the date as wrong. It's 2025, and I have mentioned it as 2015. But this is absolutely correct. So let me take you to a decade ago. What was I doing? So this was MI versus CSK IPL finals of that year. And I had an important decision to make in my life, a leap of faith, so to say. And this day, 10 years back, was for the first time that I completed the Parayana of the complete Sanskrit version of Sundarakandam, the book, the cover page of which um, that you can see. So this is the book, Sundarakandam of Srimad Valmiki Ramayana, and it's by chance that I got this book. I used to read Sanskrit verses from Sundarakandam earlier in school and college times, but that was majorly a Telugu translation. And at the end of exams, I would read it. And it was a lot of bhashyam, vyakya, and everything would be there. But in 2015, in my family, every one of us was jobless. The four of us. My mom is a housewife. My brother was still completing his education. I had just completed my tenure post and contract faculty post, and my dad had just retired. So at that time, basically on the verge of finishing my tenure and a joblessness, so to say, um, I wandered into RK Ashram that is very near to my workplace, and I'm very fond of the library there. And in the library and in the bookshop, actually, I found this book on the bookshelf and immediately bought it. And within 2 months, I completed the Parayana, and 24th May was the day that I completed it. And immediately, I got something interesting. Uh, so every one of us knows the story of Ramayana and Hanuman. So, why did I choose Sundarakandam? Because I wanted to share with you that it is very special for me. And I wanted to share the poetic beauty of the Sanskrit text. We all have seen on TV, on serials, and everywhere. But the Sanskrit text, I would urge all of you to please, whenever you get a chance, buy any book and please go through it. It's a beautiful work of poetry. It is known as the Adi Kavyam. The Ramayana is known as the Adi Kavyam. We all know that. Written by Valmiki, who is known as the Adi Kavi, the primeval poet of Bharata or Jambudvipa. And it has all the Navarasas within it. The Sundarakanda, the Ramayana, of course, has it, but Sundarakanda especially has all the rasas that we have in life, including courage, beauty, and even there is comic relief, which I will be talking about, in a seemingly grim context. Of course, it is full of alankars, upama alankar, and the metaphors and similes and personification. And it's mostly written in Anushtup Chandas. So that's about the beauty of Ramayana. Now, those of you who could go through the Google form that I sent you. So, what exactly is Ramayana? Is it a Shruti? Is it a Smriti? An Itihasa, a Purana, a history, or a mythology? So, even in her Puranas, book review, Palak has many a time taken us through these Shruti, Smriti, and even on the group, we have had the division and distinction. So, where exactly does Ramayana fall? Okay, so if we were to look at the Vedic Indian scriptures, they are divided into Shrutis and Smritis. Shrutis include the divine revelations which came to our rishis and rishikas, and these include primarily the four Vedas and the Vedangas. Of course, the sections of the Vedas are many, and at the end you have the Upanishads, which are known as the Vedanta. Then there are the Smritis, which are the recollections, those which are remembered, which include the Puranas, the Shastras, etc. And here you can see the Itihasas. So, Itihasa basically includes the Ramayana and Mahabharata. So, what exactly is Itihasa? Okay. Itihasa literally means does it happened? Does it happen? That means it is a history. So it does not have an exact English translation, but that is what it means. So whoever has written these itihasas, in fact, our Valmiki and Vyasa, they have just written it as it happened. End of story. Now, in Ramayana, one question I had asked, how many kandams or cantos are there in Ramayana? So cantos, these are books basically. Okay. And Ramayana is a huge poetry with 24,000 verses. And it has six books basically. So these include the Balakandam, Ayodhya Kandam, Aranya Kandam, Kishkinda Kandam, Sundara Kandam, and Yuddha Kandam. So Sundara Kandam is the fifth book of the Ramayana. Now, you will say there's one more book and it's missing. And yes, you would be right there. There's a seventh book as well, which was added later on, and it is known as the Uttarakandam or the Uttara Ramayana. Okay, so 24,000 verses with six, or you can say seven books, it is quite huge. So let us look at how these kandams or the cantos have been named. Okay, so now, as I said, Sundarakandam is the fifth book, and literally the most popular, and literally it means the book of beauty. Everything in this is beautiful. Okay, so why is it called beautiful? The other kandams, the cantos or the books, they are named after either something that is happening over there or somewhere it is happening. So, for example, if you have the Bala Kandam and Yuddha Kandam, they relate to the childhood and a childhood of the four brothers, and Yuddha Kandam relates to the war that happened, the Yuddha. The others relate to where they happened, like Ayodhya Kandam happened in Ayodhya, Aranya Kandam happened in the Aranya or the forest, and Kishkinda Kandam, of course, happened in Kishkinda mostly. But why Sundara Kandam is named so differently? Okay, so as I said, Sundara means the book of beauty. And out of those 24,000 verses of Ramayana, 2,885 verses are found in Sundarakandam. Okay, so there's a beautiful shloka which talks about the beauty of this book. Sundare Sundaro Ramaha, Sundare Sundari Katha, Sundare Sundari Sita, Sundare Sundaram Vanam, Sundare Sundaram Kavyam, Sundare Sundaraha Kapihi, Sundare Sundaram Mantram, Sundare Kim na Sundaram, which means in Sundarakandam, Rama is beautiful, the story is beautiful, Sita is beautiful, the Vanam is beautiful, the Vatika that is there, it is beautiful, the Kavyam, the poetry, it is beautiful, the Kapihi, it relates to our Hanumanji, he is beautiful. Mantram, the shloka, the mantram, actually it is a kavyam, but embedded in that is the Maharshi's mantra shakti, the mantra shakti that we have received. Sundare Kimna Sundaram. What is not beautiful in Sundarakanda? So there are other stories which say that Sundara is one name of Hanuman. His mother Anjana Devi called him so. Others say it is Sundara because it relieved Sita of sorrow that we'll be seeing once again. Sundara is said to be a messenger who united the hero and heroine, just like it happens in our poetry, in our epic. It is also of spiritual significance. Now, Hanuman is the central character of Sundar. Ramayana is all about Rama and Sita. Those are the protagonists. But here we have an entire book dedicated to Hanuman, and we know why that is so, why he is such an important part of Ramayana. And for many of us, I believe Hanuman is the most favorite character in Ramayana. Okay. So, in the story of Rama, there's an entire book or canto centered on Hanuman. It has 68 chapters, and you know that Hanuman is a popular character in all versions of Ramayana. We have seen books, plays, shows, movies, serials. Everywhere, Hanuman is a very popular and well loved character. But here in Valmiki Ramayana, when I read the total Sundarakanda of Valmiki Ramayana, I got to know a very new dimension of Hanuman, not only of Hanumanji, but also Rama and Sita. How beautifully the poet expresses it. So let the story begin. So out of those 68 chapters, we begin with the chapter 1. This is the largest chapter, and it describes Hanuman's leap to Lanka. So he's preparing, and it describes the Hanuman's flight over ocean in glorious detail. And we know that there are various obstacles that he encounters, and how he counters them all is the story that is there in chapter 1. Now, I'm sorry, yeah, it's got some problem. So there are questions, did he fly to Lanka? Did he swim? Did he leap? There are a lot of questions. So we see a lot of visuals of Hanumanji actually flying towards Lanka. But, people who are trying to understand and decipher what the exact meaning of the Sanskrit verses is. So some of the experts, they say that actually he swam. Okay. And for me, I would say it was a leap of faith. Of course, that requires a lot of courage and strength. And we also know the backstory of how this began. So while in Ramcharitmanas, the Sundarakand, it starts with Jambavant telling Hanuman, he's extolling him and he's preparing him. While here it directly starts with Hanuman's, putting his foot down to take a leap. So we know the backstory. So in the previous episode, what happened exactly is that there is something known as Prayopavesham. That means the Vanaras and Jambavant, who had reached the tip of the south while looking for Sita, they are all dejected that even after so many months, they are not able to find her, and they try to give up their lives. Okay, so Prayopavesham is something, a term, it's not suicide, but it's a term where they are voluntarily giving themselves up to the elements. So they just lie down on the rocks on the Mahendragiri and they are waiting for the elements, the vultures, etc., to have them and the elements to take them away because they know that they have failed and they have not found Sita and they cannot go back to Sugriva. So they are talking amongst themselves about the story, what happened, and how they reached here. While Sampati, Jatayu's brother, he listens to all these conversations. And then he says, okay, wait, you were talking of Jatayu. What happened to him? Tell me everything. So they tell him, okay, so this is what happened. He lost his life bravely, courageously, trying to protect Sita and, prevent Ravan from taking him away. And they tell him about Rama's story. So while Sampati is very sad for his brother, he says, okay, now he's gone, but his sacrifice should not go to waste. And I know where this Ravana has taken Sita, and he points towards Lanka. He says, there is an island country. island country, 100 yojanas to the south of this place, across the ocean, and that is where Ravana has taken Sita. Please go and find her there and rescue her. So now these people, these Vanaras, now they know where Sita is, and they ask Hanuman. They are talking amongst themselves now. Now, how can we go there? How can we reach there? So one Vanara says, okay, I can leap 20 yojanas. Another says, I can go 40. Angada says, I can go all the way to Lanka, but I cannot come back. I do not have the strength. In the meanwhile, Hanuman is blissfully unaware and he's sitting lost in his own thoughts. That is when we know that Jambavant and everybody, they come to him and remind him of his prowess. So this is what happened previously. Now, aroused and activated by Jambavan, Hanuman is now getting ready. So that is the first verse of Valmiki Ramayana's Sundarakanda. Tato Ravana Nitayaha Sitayaha Shatrukarshanaha Iyesha Padamanveshtum Charana Charite Pathihi. So he stretches and expands his body and assumes cosmic dimensions on Mount Mahendra in order to take a leap. So this chapter is the longest and it talks of four asadhya karyas of Hanuman. Okay, so all this while he's preparing to leap, he has taken cosmic proportions, and by the pressure of his feet, the parvatas in below his feet, they are crushed, and the birds and animals, the creatures, the snakes, they are coming out and seeing what's happened. The trees are swaying. So all this is described in poetic beauty by Valmiki Maharshi in this. And, you know, uh, there are gods and charanas and gandharvas and yakshas in the skies who are all looking at, okay, what Hanuman is going to do next. So these people are also the cheerleaders of Hanuman. And they are looking at everybody has their eyes on Hanuman. How will he will be able to do this? So, out of the four asadhya karya of Hanuman, the very act of getting ready to cross the ocean has been described as the first asadhya karya. And naturally, the cheerleaders, the rishis, the gandharvas, yakshas, kinnaras, and all those people in the skies, they are cheering loudly from the skies. Now, he has taken flight and he's on his way. So, with grit, determination, and strength, he has focused on his target that he has to reach Lanka. So, the next obstacle, so to say, that he faces is Menaka. Wouldn't call it an obstacle because he had good intentions. Menaka is a mountain and he offers hospitality and rest. He sees that Hanuman is in sky, he must be tired. He's just completed 20 yojanas and yet, Menaka, who is hiding from Indra, he has a curse from Indra and he's hiding. But seeing Hanuman, he says, okay, I have to help Hanumanji in this noble cause. And he comes out. So the submarine mountain, he offers hospitality and rest. Hanumanji, however, has his target clear. He gently refuses and he says that I cannot rest till I complete my job. And here, the yakshas and kinnaras and everybody, charanas in the skies, they are cheering again loudly. And Indra, he forgives Menaka for being so bold and helping in this noble cause. Okay, so there is a beautiful saying, there's a beautiful quote related to the Athithi Abhyagata that we have in this country. Okay, so Menaka has shown what is known as Atithi Maryada, and also that जिसने आपके लिए उपकार किया है उसके लिए परोपकार करना बनता है. And what has Hanuman shown? Hanuman shows focus and he personifies indistractability. So the next obstacle, so after going away from Menaka, So there are everybody is cheering in the skies for Menaka as well as for Hanuman. While in the meanwhile, the Devas they say, okay, now he's almost halfway through. Let us test his strength to see whether he's up to the job or not. So they send Surasa or Nagamata to test his strength. Now let us see what he does in these testing times. So this is how the situations they test us, and this is how using our buddhi kushalta we have to transcend them. So there are beautiful verses in this. So Chakara Surasa Vaktram Vinchat Yojana Mayatam. That means Surasa she stops him and says, "The gods have sent you as my meal. You have to enter my mouth." So he has a large form. So she has to, open her mouth wide, almost 20 yojanas. This might be an exaggeration, but she opens her mouth wide. The wider she opens, the wider he spreads. So she spreads to 30 yojanas. He goes on to spread to 40 yojanas. Then she goes to 80. He becomes 100 yojanas. And then once she reaches 100, he suddenly contracts his body and enters her mouth and comes out of it. Now Surasa is happy that he has fulfilled her vow or her wish, and she blesses her, and everybody is smiling, everybody is blessing again from the skies, and Surasa goes away on her way. Now the next is the shadow catching demoness, that is Simhika. So we know what happens. She's a shadow catching demoness, and basically she catches his shadow and pulls him to have him as her meat. So he defeats her again through brute force, and after this he reaches the shores of Lanka. So obviously at this point the gods and everybody in the skies they are elated. They shower flowers and they are cheering loudly, and there's happiness everywhere that he has accomplished four asadhya karya. So here I would like to mention one shloka, one mantra, and this is from Ramayana only, from Sundara Kanda only. Asadhya sadhaka swamin asadhya tamakim vada Ramaduta kripa sindho matkaryam sadhaya prabho. Okay, so what is asadhya for you? There is nothing that is asadhya for you, and make our asadhya karyas also as sadhya. Okay, Ramaduta, you are a Ramaduta, Kripa Sindho, the ocean of kindness, Mat Karyam Sadhaya Prabho. Please accomplish our tasks as well. Please make our asadhya tasks also sadhya. Okay, and this is said by none other than Sita Devi to him. And this is a very popular shloka and a mantra, which is taken as which is chanted also. So after those four asadhya karyas, okay, so next he encounters Lankini. So he lands on the shores of Lanka on Trikuta Parvat, and it is bedecked with flowers that fell on him from the surrounding trees. Now he's all brimming with confidence. He looks at the glorious glittering Lanka in the distance and decides to enter it and explore at night. So, but he feels that with his size, of course, it's not possible not to be caught. So he shrinks to the size of a marjar or a cat. Now, at the gates, we know that he encounters this Lankini. Who is Lankini? She is the protecting deity of Lanka. So she asks him, "Who are you, monkey, and what do you want?" So he says, "I'm just a curious explorer." And then, but she doesn't believe him and they come to blows. Okay, so till now, he's just being very cute and he says, "Okay, let me go and explore and everything." But once she beats him, he loses his cool. Though he's someone who wouldn't attack a woman, even if she is a Rakshasi, but he says, you are a woman, but still, you need to be vanquished. And he just gently, hits her, and then she realizes his strength. And she says, okay, you are the Vanara who Brahma mentioned in the curse, who will defeat Lanka. So now I allow you to enter Lanka. So that's how Hanuman enters Lanka after vanquishing. And next he goes inside Lanka to explore. And there's a beautiful description of Lanka. So what Hanuman observes is what Maharshi wants us to see. The beautiful description of the palaces, the exquisite riches, the clothes, the jewelry, the foods, the creatures, the people and the Rakshasas, and where they stay. Okay, so all these things he's observing while he's exploring, and he describes in great detail. So, foods, creatures, the Rakshasas and their place of dwelling, gardens, trees, flowers, the streams, ponds, everything he describes in vivid detail. He's also looking at the paths, the moats, the warriors, the Malla Yuddha Visharad, Darbha Mushti Praharanas, all these kinds of different kinds of warriors. There are also a lot of Vedic scholars over there. Okay, so he's observing everything. Now, coming to chapter 5. So, now it is night time and the moon is shining brightly over Lanka. And chapter 5 beautifully describes how Hanuman is exploring the Lanka in moonlight. And he thinks that Bhagavan Shashank, or the moon god, has come out spreading luminous cool white rays of Jyotsna. I like this because there is a lot of mention of Jyotsna in this particular sarga. Jyotsna means moonlight, and the cool white rays of moonlight are helping him in his exploration. So I'll read a couple of verses from this. ततः समध्यङ्गतमञ्चुमन्तं ज्योत्स्नावतानं महदुद्वमन्तं ददर्श धीमान् दिविभानुमन्तं गोष्ठे वृषं मत्तमिव भ्रमन्तम्. So, thereafter, that intellectual Hanuman saw the moon in the sky shining with rays and obtaining the middle portion of the sky, spreading a great quantity of moonshine. The moon looked like a bull in heat among cows. Look at the beautiful description. And this is a different kind of description. The second line is Lokasya papani vinashayantam mahodadhim chapi samedhayantam bhutani sarvani virajayantam dadasha shitan shumathan bhiyantam. After that, Hanuman saw the moon coming up, destroying the sins of the world, causing the great ocean to grow, and causing all the beings to shine. Such beautiful description. Then in chapter 6 to 9, he is exploring the city, the campuses, the palace grounds. He also looks at the Pushpaka Vimana and reaches the grandest palace, that of the Ravanas. Now he's inside Ravana's palace. He looks at the richness, the grandeur of the palace. There are pearls, precious jewels just strewn about. The walls are golden, and intricate carving with jewels is there. And there are ladies everywhere, beautiful ladies, lots of delicacies, musical instruments, but everyone is fast asleep after a party. And then, in the midst of all, he looks at the resplendent Ravan. And of course, he's amazed to look at Ravana for the first time. But there are also funny descriptions of Ravana in this. So I'll read a couple of these verses. शुशुभे राक्षस इन्द्रस्य स्वपतः शयनमुत्तमं गन्धहस्तीनि संविष्टे यथा प्रस्रवणं महत्. The excellent couch of the sleeping Ravana shone like a great lake when a scented elephant resides on it. So he's comparing the massive Ravana with an elephant. The next is even funnier. Masha Rashi Pratikasham Nishwasantam Bhujangavar Gange Mahati Toyante Prasutamiva Kunjaram. Resembling a heap of black gram, Pudaddal, snoring like the hiss of a snake, like an elephant sleeping in the middle of Ganga water. So there are beautiful and funny descriptions as well. Next, he's still exploring. He's looking at the ladies of the palace, and there on the bed, he finds a beautiful lady who he thinks looks very righteous and, a lot more resplendent and gracious than the other ladies who are sleeping there. So his thought process begins. Oh, this beautiful lady, she must be Sita. And the thought process of Hanuman and also at times Ravana and Sita is mentioned very vividly in Sundara Kandam of Valmiki Ramayana because he has all the time to describe. There are 68 sargas, 68 chapters, 2885 verses. So in that, he has all the time to leisurely describe everybody's thoughts and everything in detail. So he dances up and down in joy and he kisses his tail. But suddenly it strikes him. Sita cannot sleep so peacefully without her Ram. So he goes away from there and starts searching in the banquet hall. And there he sees scenes from a huge party. So there are telltale signs of dance, music, musical instruments are there, wine, ladies everywhere, women all around, you know. So at this point in time, he has searched a lot all over the campus, all over the palace, everywhere, and he can't find Sita, and he is in grief. So this is one book I find. I mean, Valmiki describes the feelings, the emotions, the deeper thoughts in such great detail, and those were people who did not shy of, you know, exploring their emotions. So that is what I feel. So Hanuman is in grief. This is not something we read everywhere. Of course, he might be shown as a bit sad, but mostly he is shown as a picture of valor, courage, always. But here in detail, we can see that Hanuman is also in grief. So he thinks, I have searched everywhere and yet I can't find Sita. Sita, who deserves to be enjoying life with Rama, is nowhere to be seen. So now his, negative thought process has started. Has Ravana hid her somewhere in Patala or some? Has he killed her? What has he done? And what if I go back to Sugriva without finding her? What will he do? So the train of negative thoughts begins. But then soon enough, by self reflection and self motivation, he comes out quickly from the dejection mode and springs into action. And then he says, I will look at the smallest nook and corner. And here comes the most powerful and motivating shloka of this Sundara Kandam of Valmiki Ramayana. Uh, Palak had recently shared it on her status, and I was so happy uh, to read this on her WhatsApp status. So here goes this shloka, and I would like every one of you to please pay attention to it. Anirvedah Shriyo Moolam, Anirvedah Param Sukham, Anirvedo hi Satatam, Sarvartheshu Pravartakaha. So, non depression or non despondency is the root of development. Shriyaha means you achieve something. Shriyaha, wealth, Lakshmi. Absence of despondency is the greatest comfort. And self-reliance always is indeed the promoter in all matters. Now, the I know the translation is very bland. That is why it is important that we understand a bit of Sanskrit and try to, understand right from what the Sanskrit verses are saying. करोति सफलं जन्तोः कर्म यच्च करोति सः तस्माद् अनिर्वेद कृतं यत्नं चेष्टेहमुत्तमम् अदृष्टां च विशेष्यामि देशान ravana palitam. So whatever action a human does, that action of man is made to be successful by non-depression. So you will be successful only if you leave your despair and start acting. For that reason, I will perform a best effort and I will search all the regions ruled by Ravana that I have not yet seen. So this is how he has motivated himself immediately. So as soon as a depressing thought comes, of course, there is a train of thoughts, but immediately, he motivates himself and says that no, I can't sit idle. I have to keep working, keep looking for her. But again, he searches, and everywhere he searches, he can't see. So there is more grief. Immediately thereafter, again, he goes into a spiraling negative thought process. But still, he doesn't leave his search. And finally, he finds a beautiful Vatika. And he looks at it, he enters it, and looks at the trees, the beautiful streams, and the description here is so beautiful and it's a must read for everybody. So the first time he looks at Ashoka Vatika, the way he describes it, the flowers, a stream that has, taken a curve, hairpin bend. He says, this is someone like a woman who has, जो रूठ गई है अपने पति से, अपने मायके चली गई और फिर वापस आ गई, ऐसा लग रहा है. This is how Valmiki describes a stream that has taken a hairpin bend and is coming back. So, so yes. So now he looks at this beautiful Vatika and he thinks, he looks at one of the, Saras, the streams, and he says, surely Sita would be coming here to perform Sandhya Vandanam. So this is also giving us a glimpse of, the kind of geography that was there, the kind of, forests and everything, those were there at that time, and the culture, the customs, the traditions at that time. So he says that Sita will definitely come here to perform Sandhya Vandanam. So this is so next he goes and tries to look for her. And beneath in the Ashoka Vatika, he looks at her and he finally finds her. So he is basically leaping from tree to tree and looking at her. And beneath the Shinchupa Vriksha, he finds her. But she is in a very pitiable condition. But looking at her clothes and looking at her jewels, he says, "Okay, these were the jewels that are missing here on her person, and we found those in the Kishkinda when she had thrown them down. So she must be Sita." And from the description also, she is still beautiful, she is still resplendent, her eyes are still shining, but her condition is not good. Ekaveni, a single, she has stopped braiding her plaits. And Ekaveni, Dharashaya, she's lying on the uh, ground. Malina Vastra, her clothes are malin. She's not having everything. Trisham Deenam, so she's almost starved. So this is her description, and he's so sad to look at her. And this is the point where I get emotional every time. There's a further description of her I would like to read directly from the book. So this is from chapter 15. So she's breathing slowly. Vriditam dukha santaptam parimlanam tapasvinim, just like a tapasvini. ग्रहेण अंगारकेणेव ग्रहण लग गया हो जैसे पीड़ितामेव रोहिणी. So that is how she looks like. Ashrupurna Mukhim Dinam. Ashrupurna Mukhim. She is very tearful. Krishamanashanena cha. Shoka Dhyana Param Dinam. Nityam Dukha Parayanam. Priyam Janam Pashyantim Rakshasi Ganam. Now he looks at the Rakshasis all around her, and he's even more sad, even sadder to see that she's surrounded by these hideous Rakshasis, and she's away from her Priya Rama and her Priyajan. So she's crying, tearful, fearful. And in the next few chapters, we look at the plight of Sita, the ugly Rakshasis who are surrounding her. And then in the meantime, it's morning, it's dawn, not morning. And Ravana, he wakes up, and the first thing that he does is come with his retinue, all his wives and all the ladies of the palace, and he enters Ashokavataka to come to Sita. He comes to Sita, and initially he's saying, okay, I will give you this, I will give you that, be my queen, I will make you my topmost queen, all those things he says. I will give your father this Rajyam, I'll give him this. Leave that, Rama. What has he? He doesn't have anything. But whatever Ravana says, Trinamantarah Krutva, we know that ek tinka jo hai, she doesn't even look at him, and he keeps a tinka in front of her. Trinamantaratah Kritva. She's shaking in fear, but she's fearful, she's crying, she's tearful, and yet she stands up to him and refuses to give in. So, this shows her fortitude, her devotion to Rama, and the courage in the face of threats and adversity. So, finally, Ravana is angry. He says he gives her an ultimatum because Sita not only refuses him, she also says Rama will come and beat the shit out of you. So now Ravana is very angry and he gives her an ultimatum. And he also tells his Rakshasis, threaten this woman into submission. So, and he says to Sita, now 2 months are left to an year. It's been 10 months, and given to me, or I will have my Rakshasis eat you up. So at this point, I want to say one thing. There are people in this country who extol Ravana. He says they say he's a Pandit, some say he is a Dravidian, he's this, he's that. And there's a guy who goes by the name of Ravana, who Chandrasekhar Azad. I know I don't want to go into the politics, whatever. But what I want to say is he was meant to be an evil character, and he was an evil character. So why are we trying to say, "Acha Ravan ko kyun jalate hain?" And all those nonsense things. He didn't touch her. He didn't do anything to her. But the kind of threats you have to read Valmiki Ramayana Sundarakanda to understand he was pure evil, and what he was doing was harassing her. Anyway, this gets so much that she wants to give up on life. So it goes so bad. So while she's contemplating giving up her life, in another corner, so Ravana has left the Ashok Vatika. So here we know about the Trijata Swapna, and Trijata sees the future in a dream. And again, this chapter 27, it's very wonderfully describes what Trijata sees. So she sees that Rama has won over Ravan, and he has left for the north along with Sita and his family to his kingdom in the north. And she describes Rama's victory parade, and she tells her fellow Rakshasis, "You stupid woman, leave Sita alone. You want to eat her? Eat me instead." Because she's soon to reach her husband, and I have seen that very clearly in my dream. Lanka is doomed, so the only resort for us is to ask this gentle lady for her forgiveness. So she says she's a very gentle lady, and Pranipata Prasannahi. Pranipata, just ask her and she'll forgive you. She's that gentle. So this shows us the character of Ma Sita also. We know, of course, how gentle Ma Sita was, but this again Sundara Kandam tells us, even in the face of such adversity, these Rakshasis, they are threatening her no end, and still she does not have a single bad word for her. Of course, she stands up to Ravana, but to those Rakshasis, she doesn't say even a word. So, looking at all this, what happens next is, um, so after Trijata Swapna, while Sita has given up and she's in a thought process, negative thought process of her own, she is showered with a lot of good omens. Okay, and beautifully described. Her left eye is fluttering, her left. So, and her beauty is also described. And she smiles in the face of all this. because now she knows that Rama is going to come. So good times are here. And it is at this point that Hanuman, sitting in the tree, he has seen how the Rakshasis are threatening, how Ravana is threatening. He starts his thought process again. Now, I have to comfort Sita, or otherwise, this Ravana can do anything to her. And even before that, she might give up her life. Now, he's thinking, should I speak in Sanskrit? Should I speak in Manushi or human language, Manushya Bhasha? So you can see Hanuman knew a lot of languages. So that is what is apparent to me from this. He could speak a lot of languages. So that is what he's thinking. So now he thinks, I shouldn't delay it any further. And he starts narrating Ramakatha. So I must tell you, in Sundara Kanda, Ramakatha or Ramayana is described four times, including the past, present, and the future. Future is in the form of Trijata Swapna. So that is why this is considered a very powerful, you know, uh, Kanda. So he narrates Ramakatha, Sita talks. So Sita looks up and down. Where is this voice coming from? Who is narrating this story? Okay. And then when he comes to her and starts talking, so she asks him, how do you know all this? You're talking about Sugriva, you're talking about Rama, Lakshmana, and you say they met Sugriva and everything. So how did humans and Vanaras become friends? So he starts. She says, "Okay, whatever you're saying, though it seems very, unbelievable, but whatever you're saying, it is soothing me a lot. So it must be true that I want to see if it is true." So Hanuman now understands that okay, Sita is getting convinced. Let me go near her. As soon as he starts going near her. Sita is again very scared. She thinks that it is Ravan who has come in this Vanar form, and she is fearful again. So again, now Hanuman has this task of convincing her. You can see Hanuman had, he is someone unknown. She doesn't trust him. So you can see how he's trying to convince her, and what a vakpatutvam, vakya kushalta he has, that he's able to convince her. Now Sita says, okay, describe to me Rama's, personality and how Rama looks and what are these signs, the nimittani, the signs. So he tells her in great detail about his about his physique, about his physical attributes, and also about his personality. Now she is convinced. Okay. So after she is convinced, so there are stories, we have seen in TV serials and all, that he's sitting on top of the tree and he drops the signet ring. But here in Valmiki Ramayana, which is the actual Ramayana, original Ramayana, he gives the signet ring only after she is convinced that, he is someone known to Rama and Rama's messenger. So this is a beautiful three lines are there, and I want to read these to you. वानरोऽहं महाभागे दूतो रामस्य धीमतः रामनाम अंकितं चेदं पश्य देवी अंगुलीयकम्. O illustrious lady, I am a monkey and a messenger of the wise Rama. O princess, look at the ring too, marked with Rama's name. I brought this ring given by the high souled Rama for the purpose of gaining your confidence. Get consoled. Happiness to you. You're now free from the object of your grief. So you can see, we know that Sri Ram trusted Hanuman enough that he will be the one who will be able to do this task. So he gave him the mudrika. And now Hanuman has accomplished this task. The third shloka that is there, it's a very, very beautiful one. It shows not only the beauty of the poetry, it also shows the emotions, the love that Sita has for her husband, Sri Ram. Grihitva prekshamana sa bhartuhu karavibhushanam bhartaramiva samprapta janaki mudita bhavat. I brought this ring given by the high souled Rama for the purpose of, I'm sorry, the meaning didn't come here. Uh, Meaning is that Grihitva Prekshamana sa Bhartuhu Kara Vibhushanam Bhartaramiva Samprapta Janaki Mudita Bhavat. She keeps looking at that mudrika and she feels so happy as if she has, found her own husband. Bhartarameva Samprapta. She has got her husband. She is that happy. Janaki Mudita Bhavat. This is one of the most beautiful shlokas of Sundarakanda. So now she is totally assured, and she's happy and she's convinced that good times are here to come and she will reach her Rama. Her Rama will come to her. Her Sri Ram will come to her. So this is a beautiful visual. And what happens, how her countenance changes. Just look at what a gentle soul she was and what a beautiful soul she was. चारु तत्वदनं तस्याः ताम्रशुक्लायतेक्षणम् अशोभत विशालाक्ष्या राहुमुक्त इवोडराट् ततः सा ह्रीमती बाला भर्तुः सन्देशहर्षिता परितुष्टा प्रियं श्रुत्वा प्राशंसत महाकपिम्. The countenance of that large-eyed Sita, which appeared charming with red and white eyes, shone like a moon, and the king of stars, liberated by Rahu the demon. Then, gladdened by the message of her husband, she became shy and well pleased. Uttering delightful words, she praised Hanuman. O Hanuman, the best of monkeys, you have singly overpowered this place infested by demons. You are valiant, you are competent, you are intelligent. She speaks for all of us and she gives us the message of how Hanuman was. शतयोजन विस्तीर्णः सागरो मकरालयः विक्रम श्लाघनीयेन क्रमता गोष्पदीकृतः. She further praises him. You, with an acclaimable gallantry, crossed the ocean, having a width of 100 yojanas and an asylum of crocodiles. You know, the ocean, you made it like as if it's a small puddle. So, next, in the next few chapters, Hanuman reassures Sita. We know that she next gives her pressed jewel, that is her Chudamani. So now she completely trusts him. So Sita and Ram both trust Hanuman. Now she tells him stories of her time with Rama. Okay, so there is the story of the crow, and it is something you must read in detail. So she says, he loves me so much, and he can't see me in pain. Now I understand why he couldn't come. Now she was at a loss. Why 10 months have passed and there is no sign of Rama? Where is he? Why is he not coming? Now she understands completely. And she now knows that he is in search for her as assured by Hanuman. And he tells him a story of how he sent forth a Brahmastra over a crow that attacked her. So she says, okay, for someone who used a Brahmastra over a crow for me, uh, now he should come and save me. And I hope he comes soon. So Hanuman assures her again, yes, Mata, even he can't live without you. He'll come as soon as I tell him of your presence here. So next, of course, we know what happens. There's destruction of the Ashoka Vatika. And so here, there's a funny incident. Now, after she's done talking, he says, okay, let me go. And she gives her the permission. And somehow it resonates with me like Operation Sindoor. Like the armed forces, they were given, full permission to do whatever they like to avenge. She says, okay, go, do whatever you want to do. So, so here, now the Rakshasis have come to her. Who's that monkey you were talking to? And she feigns ignorance. She says, I don't know. You tell me. You must be knowing. He looks like a Mayavi, and I thought he was one of you. So, this is exactly like the turn of events that we have seen during the war this month, and how the Indian army, they simply say, okay, we don't know what was done. We might have not. So the Rakshasis and the Rakshasa, they are quite confused. What's happening here? Sthitah kaschit, gatah kaschit. Some stay there, others go and complain to Ravana. He sends his army. And one by one, he sends Kinkaras and everybody. So he's destroying Ashok Vatika left, right, and center. He's throwing boulders, he's uprooting the trees and destroying the beautiful Vatika. So the Rakshasis and the Rakshasas, they go and say to Ravana, "Oh, mighty Ravan, he's destroying your favorite Ashok Vatika, and he was even talking to your favorite Sita, go and do something." So he sends them one by one, and Hanuman vanquishes each and every one of them, Kinkaras, Mantriputras, everybody. So after attacking each army battalion that is coming to him, he goes back and sits on his Torana as if nothing happened. But the final straw is Aksha Kumara. So he's had it, Ravana has had it, and he sends the his son Indrajit. So before that, I want to talk about this mantra. Namostu Ramaya Salakshmanaya, Devi Chatasya Janakatmajaya, Namostu Rudrendra Yamanilebhyo, Namostu Chandrarka Marudganebhya. Hanumanji, we know he's so valiant. He's gone into enemy territory. He's making a mincemeat of them. And then he has the guts to proclaim, okay, do whatever you want. I have the blessings of Rama, Lakshmanaya, salutations to them. All the devatas, the Rudra, the Marut, and the Chandra, everybody, Yama, nobody can do anything. So this is the next most powerful mantra that I feel is there, and this is also a prayer mantra. So which gives you a lot of courage. So just a few more chapters are left. We know the story, but I just wanted to bring forth the poetic excellence. So in the next few chapters, Indrajit binds Hanuman with Brahmastra, and Brahmastra can't bind him. Nothing can bind him, but Hanuman, of course, he respects Brahma, uh, and he gets bound. Thus, he's brought to Ravana. Of course, this is also his chal. He wants that he has an audience with Ravana. And Ravana is very angry. The description, how his reddened eyes, droplets falling, angry droplets falling from his eyes. So very, very well described. So finally, we know he orders execution, and Vibhishana, he stops his brother. So here he has observed, Hanuman has observed in the enemy territory. This is one guy whom we can trust, and we know that in the next canto, when Vibhishana comes for Sharanagati to Rama, it is Hanuman who says that this guy is harmless. We can take him into our camp. Now, there are shlokas, there are verses which tell us how Ravana and Hanuman both are amazed to see each other. So they both see each other as warriors. So the valor is evident, and they are in awe of each other. And we know in the next, of course, that Hanuman advises Ravana, but there is no use, and he orders ha- the that Hanuman uh, stale be set on fire. And we know next what happens. Hanuman goes and sets fire to Lanka in turn. So there's trahi trahi everywhere in Lanka as everyone is running helter skelter. Meanwhile, Sita comes to know that something like this has happened, that Hanuman's tail has been set on fire. So she starts praying. And there's a beautiful prayer here. I want to read it. Please listen. She says, Yadyasti patishushruta, yadyasti charitam tapaha, yadi chastyeka patni tvam, shito bhava hanumataha, yadi kinchit anukroshas tasya mayasti dhimataha, यदि वा भाग्यशेषो मे शीतो भव हनुमतः यदि मां वृत्तसम्पन्नां तत्समागमलालसां स विजानाति धर्मात्मा शीतो भव हनुमतः यदि मां तारये दार्यः सुग्रीवः सत्यसङ्गरः अस्मद्दुःखान् महाबाहुः शीतो भव हनुमतः. So she's saying, she's addressing Agni. She says, if I have served my husband well, if I have loved my husband well, if I have supported him well, may you act as a cooling influence on Hanuman. She's telling Agni directly, cool down. If you are in the least merciful to me, if I have even a bit of good fortune left, May you act as a cooling influence on Hanuman. If my only aspiration is to reach my husband, who is the embodiment of righteousness, may you cool down for Hanuman. If Sugriva, now she puts a rider on Sugriva also. If Sugriva is truthful and is powerful, is going to lift me from his ocean of sorrow, may you act as a cooling influence. And immediately after this, he feels that his tail feels very cool in spite of the raging fire. Okay? So, this is a beautiful one, beautiful shloka. So, after setting fire, we know what happens. Everybody is running around. Lanka is destroyed almost. And but at this point in time, something that other serials or books do not tell us. Now he's repenting. So he suddenly thinks, oh, I haven't thought Ashokavatika is also here. It might also have been destroyed by the fire. But then again, immediately this thought comes to him. She is fire herself. Fire in the sense that she has the spiritual fire in her. So this material fire cannot destroy the lady with spiritual fire. Also, his tail feels cool all the time. So again, after this task, there are cheers from the skies as earlier. And this time, everyone is praising Sita as well, and he can hear that they're amazed. They're wondering in this raging fire, Ashoka Vatika is still the same, and Sita is not affected. So now he knows that Sita is safe, and he goes to Mata Sita and he returns seeking her permission to leave. So this task is accomplished. Now, after meeting Sita and taking the Chudamani from her, he returns to Kishkinda. Now we have a big task accomplished. Some celebratory scenes have begun. He returns to Mahendragiri and he simply says, Drishta Sita. So you have to also see Vakpatutvam. That is, he knew how to say the maximum in minimal of words. You know, Vanaras only needed to know that he has seen Sita. So that is what the first thing he says, Drishta Sita. So now Angada and Jambavan, they are happy. They welcome him with open arms and say, okay, what do we do next? It's not that they are resting or anything. It's just the Vanaras, they are in a celebratory mode. But here the elders, Angada, Jambavan, they are already in a strategy mode. Okay, what to do next? How do we go to Sugriva and tell him? What all do we do? So, but the Vanaras, of course, uh, on the way back, there is Madhuvan, and we know monkey see, monkey do, and they all get drunk on the Madhu, and they think of themselves as Hanuman. After that, they are so drunk, they think they are Hanuman, and the guards at the Madhuvan, they think they're all the demons that Hanuman has killed, and they start beating them up and behaving very indecently. So the head of the security over there, Dadimukha, he goes and complains to Sugriva. And Sugriva now understands that this act basically Angada and everybody they have permitted only to show that they have returned with news from Sita. And these are celebratory. And of course, he tells Rama and Lakshmana the happy news. So these are some funny verses over there describing the drunkenness of the monkeys. Gayanti kechit, pranamanti kechit, नृत्यन्ति केचित् प्रहसन्ति केचित् पतन्ति केचित् विचरन्ति केचित् प्लवन्ति केचित् प्रलपन्ति केचित् some were singing some were offering salutations कुछ लोग नाच रहे थे एक दूसरे के ऊपर गिर रहे थे पत्ते डाल रहे थे you know इधर उधर अनाप शनाप बक रहे थे some were jumping some were crying some were laughing monkey behaving like monkeys do. Parasparam kechit upashrayante, parasparam kechit atibhruvante, parasparam kechit anubhruvante, parasparam kechit uparamante. So some were leaning against one another, some were falling upon one another, others were, fighting, some were playing. So there are some comic moments also, and that is what I like about this Sundara Kandam. Now we are reaching the almost the penultimate chapters. So now Hanuman, now they have reached Kishkinda and they are presented to Rama and Lakshmana. So now everybody is looking in amazement at Hanuman. So Hanuman doesn't say anything. Everybody praises him and says, okay, now he has found Sita, he has done it. They are chattering amongst themselves. Now he comes to Rama and he tells him about how Sita is. He presents him the Chudamani and gives an account of Sita amidst the Rakshasas, the story of the crow and all those Shila, all those things he recounts to Rama. But here, after hearing the status of Sita, Rama is now overcome with emotion and he falls down to the ground in grief. So again, a man who is not afraid of, expressing his emotions. So he says, I can't live without her even one moment. Okay. So this beautiful kavyam is also given us, you know, uh, verses which show their mutual love, how much they loved each other, and their expression. Naya mamapi tam desham yatra drishta mama priya na tishteyam kshanamapi pravrittim upalabhya cha. Take me to that place where my beloved Sita has been seen. I cannot halt even for a moment after receiving the news of her location. So, this whole thing that is there, you know, he's relieved that she has been found, but at the same time, he says, I can't live for even one moment without going to her. So, you must have heard that song, Ore Piya, Le Chal Jahan Wo Mulk Tera Hai. So, this is the Sanskrit version of that and something that really happened. So finally, Rama listens to them intently as Hanuman assures him that Sita has been assured. That is what Rama wants to know. How is she doing amidst the Rakshasis? कैसे रहेगी वो कैसे रह रही है? So he is assured that Sita has been assured by Hanuman. So it begins with Hanuman and ends with Hanuman. So you can see the emotional side, how he is able to convince Sita, how he is able to win the trust. Okay, so how he's a he's an empathetic person. Hanuman is an empathetic being. So all this we can see. So as I said, there's a lot of comic relief in this kavyam, and there are a lot of verses. I'll not go into all those. One of those I told you, Gayanti Kechar, Pranamanti Kechar. And when he finds Mandodari and thinks she's Sita, he kisses his tail and jumps up and down. So, funny verses. So, what exactly is Hanuman and how has he been shown in this Kavyam, Sundara Kandam? He was someone who respected women and he was an empath. And he was someone, or he is someone, he is still there. He's a Chiranjeevi, we all know. He's still there. And he is in the plains which are close to us. So, that is why he's somewhere in the Himalayas. So that is why they say that whenever we pray to him, he comes really fast. So anyway, so this is basically one shloka which shows his immense self-control. Mano hi hetu sarvesham. Just a few minutes more, and we'll wrap this up. Mano hi hetu sarvesham indriyanam pravartate. Shubha shubhashu avasthasu tachame suvyavasthitam. So I told you he's been looking in the chapters where I told you he's looking at all the ladies to see if Sita is there, and they are in a disheveled state, not in proper clothes, not decent or anything. And yet he thinks, okay, I'm a brahmachari. Am I doing something wrong by looking at women? Then he says, among the auspicious or inauspicious states in the behavior of all senses, mind is the reason. And I have my mind in complete control. My mind is very steady. So he has immense self control. And then in the next sentence, he says, okay, Sita is a lady, she's a woman. I will have to look for a woman amongst women. I can't look for her amongst deer or other animals. So I have done nothing wrong. So every time he's reflecting, we can see his thought process, positive, negative, whatever is there, his confidence, how he immediately over his negative emotions. Okay. So he respected women. First, we saw that Lankini, um, he attacked her mildly, that too only when he was first attacked. Okay, so no first attack policy. And he respected women even if they were Rakshasis or any clan or whatever. Talking of empathy, I haven't seen a more empathetic character than Hanuman. And this, this Kavyam tells us very well. So we see him as a valiant warrior, but in Valmiki Ramayana, he's chosen an empath as well, and his heart melts at the sight of Ma Sita and also at Rama's condition. So in the end, the most important thing is he was able to assure both Sita in Lanka and Rama in Kishkinda. Not to just a passing mention, he was the first special operator. This image that you see, you know, it actually is a murti of Hanuman, and it is written below Hanuman, the first special operator. And not many instructions were given to him. Even without instruction, he went there. He showed stealth, speed, he was decisive, he was clever, boldly entered the enemy territory, accomplished his task, delivered message and mudrika. He gathered information on stealth about the enemy in their various locations, and about their armies. He attacked them and he had the audacity to attack them all. And he strategically took out one of the most wanted, terrorists over there. And he acted as a diplomat as well. In fact, our Minister of External Affairs, S. Jaishankar, he calls him India's first diplomat. So in popular culture, we know Obama keeps, a little trinket of Hanuman in his pocket. And, we have seen, those of us who have seen Black Panther, so there's this tribe, the Jabari tribe, who has Hanuman as their god. Of course, it ran into controversy in India, but I don't understand why it was so. They were just glorifying Hanuman, and it was very cute, actually. We know, of course, where many TV serials and everything are there, cartoon characters. So a lot of there's a rapper who goes by the name of Hanuman Kind. Now, this brings me to almost the end of this session. Just a brief in passing about the differences between Valmiki Ramayana Sundarakandam and Ramcharitmanas. Of course, the storyline is majorly the same, but there are certain differences. In one, it is called as Kandam, and the other, it is Sopan. Shloka bolte hain Valmiki Ramayana. It's in Sanskrit. इधर दोहे चौपाई कुछ श्लोक भी हैं संस्कृत श्लोक भी हैं रामचरितमानस में we know that the initial three are shlok in Sanskrit. Sargas are there, 68 sarg, so it's voluminous. Valmiki Ramayana Sundarkandam is voluminous, while Ramcharitmanas is, shorter, of course. A parayan of Ramcharitmanas Sundarakandam can be done in 1 hour, 45 minutes to those who have been reading already. But while the Sundarakandam of Valmiki Ramayanam, in totality, if you were to sit, it takes almost 12 hours. And there is a Parayana Vidhi, of course. If anyone wants to know, I would let you know. But those are the devotional aspects. Now, the ending and the beginning and the contents are a bit different in both of these. So the Vibhishana has already come, and Samudra incident, all that happens in Ramcharitmanas. But in Valmiki Ramayana, it ends with Hanuman asking Rama what to do next. So in Valmiki Ramayana, it's more humanized or emotional, while the Ramcharitmanas, it's more divine and more devotional. So just wanted to touch upon it. So finally, this is a story about Hanuman's devotion, discipline, and courage, of Sita's plight, of Rama's love, their concern for each other. And this has a spiritual aspect as well, because they were in human form, and they experienced the torments of samsara, and that is beautifully described by the Maharshi. So the character sketches of these three would make even a stone melt. And that is why, even after thousands of years, some have said that it is now 5,500 years. Ramayana happened 5,000 years ago. And that is why it's eternal and we read it with reverence even now. And I told you, you will see if you read it, no, you will see that the Ramayana is recited 4 times in the whole text. So reading Sundarakanda is like reading Ramayana 4 times. Okay, so yeah, that's the beauty. And there is a Katapayadhi technique or a Parayana Vidhi. If anyone wants to know, I will share with them. But so in the end, what Valmiki Ramayana Sundarakanda means to me, and so many others who have read it, the literary excellence, the spiritual abundance that is of a lost Jivatma who has met the Paramatma, the lessons of resilience, timeless wisdom, and truly it's a book of beauty, Sundarakandam. Thank you so much, and I hope you enjoyed the session. And this will make you want to read the Valmiki Ramayana Sundarkand, the original Sanskrit.